sure that it comes up here. And it's up. Yo, here we go.
Nice.
Welcome to the Bard of All Trades podcast. I'm your host, BradElBard, and today I have the man behind the myth, the finisher, sub only. I got the sticker right here.
Yes.
Big sticker. Make sure you guys go support the gym because they're allowing me to use their electricity to power my air conditioning. It keeps that cool.
Hell yeah.
And really quick, I just want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Valley Jiu-Jitsu. Make sure you guys go train there. They got a week free promo if you mention the Bard. And also, if you guys like creative writing and horror and stuff like that, check out Vedinian, link in the description. What's up, man? Thanks for bringing the beer.
Dude, yeah, hell yeah. I wanted to bring, this is one of my favorite beers. Not this beer itself, but this is one of my favorite
The brand.
breweries.
Yeah.
It's in Colorado. It's called Breckenridge
shit,
Brewery, yeah. I went there once, and dude, Colorado, I don't know if you've never been there, is the shit. I don't want, there's a lot of places like that I haven't been yet, like Arizona and stuff I hear, but Colorado is pretty dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always check out the Breckenridge, and I'm not a big IPA guy, so I've been getting into the sours a little bit. And this is a sour. So.
Yeah, man, I love sours. Actually, I was just mentioning like Victory's Sour
Victory.
Monkey is my jam, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, this is really good. I like this a lot.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on too, man. I appreciate
Hell
it.
yeah, dude. Well, Zach, I've been a huge fan of yours like since I met you, pretty much.
Nice.
Every time I found out more and more about you since I got into jiu-jitsu, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's like Joe Rogan of Pennsylvania. Because you have your own podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got the jiu-jitsu gym, man. Do you want to kind of talk to me about like how did you meet like Eddie Bravo and kind of go about your journey to become the success that you are, man?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like, it's a long story, but I've known JM, my partner JM Holland. I've known him for like a whole gang of years. So I was doing martial arts already here on the East Coast with him, and even when he was a kid, him and my brother were both in the same karate class.
Oh,
and I was like I'm a couple years older than him, so we were already doing martial arts around here. And then one day we just we were there, like I kind of got like into a relationship, and then I got out of it, and I wasn't doing it full time. But I had done like MMA fights in 2001 was my first fight.
Wow.
So like, yeah, people are like, wait a minute, how old are you?
Yeah.
Because like I don't look that old, but like also I'm starting to get some gray in my beard here. But
dude, I got the receding hairline.
yeah,
bro.
dude. Well, that's why I shaved my head. I got out in front of it. People are like, wait a minute. One time I saw a picture of myself, and I didn't have I had no. Like the picture looked like I was bald, and I was like, "Oh shit, I got to shave it.
Yep,
I got to
it's
shave my
done.
head." Yeah. So like, once like we were doing, it was called I started training at Tiger Showman's Karate.
Wow.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. So
they have BJJ now.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
They're
crazy.
doing all types of stuff. They got a whole bunch of guys in UFC, and they've been competing for a long time, like in the local scene, and just. Ring of Combat, but now they got Jimmy Rivera, Nick Pace was in UFC, Shane Burgos is in UFC right now, Mike Trezano, and those are all guys that started with Tiger Schulman's and came up through the ranks. So I learned a lot from them, business shit and and also like, I learned my stand up from them. Like that's when I was doing a lot of stand up fighting and stuff. And I was probably like 18, 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And then I was doing the NHB or MMA. I did a bunch of those fights. Once I realized like I thought I was going to UFC for a while, and I kind of got in a relationship and stuff. And then I was like, once I didn't like, think I was going to UFC, I need to get like a real job and everything because it wasn't making any money, but I was kind of working at a karate school, at the same time. And then, yeah, like I got like a real job, and I was still training every now and then. I went to a boxing gym, started teaching grappling there. So I've been like doing like, and just being around the business for years. And like, Tiger Schulman's, they're really successful.
Yeah.
But like, the thing with Tiger Schulman's is, and no disrespect to them because they taught me a lot, like I said, but that's like a franchise and you have to kind of do everything like they say.
Yeah.
And dude, I've never just been like that type of guy. Like even the military, I don't think I would cut it.
Yeah.
Like I would do it, but like I just always was like, I just don't want to, I want to kind of have my own thing. You know what I mean?
For sure,
I want to always do it myself.
Do some
and,
experimenting.
Yeah, and not
at
that
your
I thought,
discretion.
like, people are always like, oh, you just thought maybe you would do it better. And I don't know if I was do it better, but I just do it differently.
Yeah.
And like, I found some things I didn't like about the way they were training me at the time. And, it's kind of why, like, I thought, if I had, learned more grappling or jiu-jitsu at the time, like maybe if, I would have went a different route, like, cause that's who I ended up getting beat by a jiu-jitsu guy. And, turns out, I just found this out not too long ago. My second fight was in 2003, I think. And the guy I lost to was, he had Danaher in his corner.
Oh,
fucking
shit.
2003. Like, what's up with that, dude? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if you saw, and back then, if you saw a purple belt, like, that was like big time. You know, you didn't like now. There's like, oh yeah, there's like 6 purple belts over there hanging out. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
oh what? Like, dude, back then, like, if you saw a purple belt, like, I wasn't ranked in jiu-jitsu. I just did karate.
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't just karate though. Like, it was kickboxing, and we did do grappling, but like, it was just we're just not on the same level as them. It's like It's like a guy who knows leg locks versus a guy who grapples but doesn't know leg locks.
Yeah.
Like, he could win, and it would be tough, but you know, he's probably going to get leg locked. And that's
Yeah.
how it was. I felt with them. Like, eventually I'm going to get tapped by a guy who's just, you know, they're training jiu-jitsu every day, you know, and they can learn just enough stand up to be able to hang in there with me and get it to the ground, you know. And I didn't, other problem is never wrestled in college. Like, if you
Yeah.
wrestled in freaking college or high school, like, you got such a leg up
Yeah.
in MMA,
100%.
like, comparable. Like imagine like trying to fight like a guy like, you know, like Nicky Rod, like the big wrestler guy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he could go in there and like fight a bunch of heavyweights with no striking and do pretty well. Like, he'd probably be able to take down a whole ton of guys and just choke them out, or ground and pound them,
Hell
arm
yeah,
bar them.
dude.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I've rolled with Nicky Rod. That guy is so fucking fast for his size.
And he's
man.
huge.
Dumb.
So that's what I'm saying. He
Dumb.
could have no striking and still be able to get guys down and beat them up. But like, I just didn't have that other half. So, and then what happened was, oh, the Eddie Bravo, yeah. So then
Yeah.
what happened was I met I wanted to get more into jiu-jitsu, and like, I kind of broke up. I did break up with the girl that I was with for like a long time,
Mhm.
and I was kind of like out on my ass, and I kind of forced myself to be out on my ass because it was like basically a reset of my whole life.
Dude, that's
You
kind of
know?
what the bus is for me. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta do it big.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Yeah. So I forced myself. Like, I could have asked my parents for help, whatever, you know, and who knows whether they would have helped me out because I was like already like 30 years old. But
Yeah.
you know, because I went through all this shit, like training and everything, till I was like, you know, mid-20s, and then kind of cut it off, but like came back in my 30s, and I was like, all right. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna fucking do this, you know. So I kind of just like put myself in a position where, you know, I didn't pay my bills for a while, but I didn't have like tons of credit card debt, so it wasn't terrible. But I didn't pay a bunch of my bills because I was like, I just can't right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm not suggesting, viewers, I'm not suggesting you do this, but you know, it's what I did at the time. And I moved a bunch of my things into like random spots. Like, I had it in my parents. I stayed at my buddy's for like 6 months, and then when me and JM, we were already teaching at another school,
Mm.
and we were like, you know, we wanted to open up our own school, and then eventually we were like, let's do it. And then I had already met Eddie Bravo probably when I was like 20, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to think when that was. Maybe that was around 2002 too. I had some fights already, and two of my buddies from they did, and it's the same thing we're just talking about. Two of my buddies from high school moved out to California. Just drove, my buddy had a Ford Escort and drove it cross
Yeah.
country, and just lived in hostels and stuff just to be a comedian. Now he's
shit,
a
dude.
writer. He still does stand up, but he runs a thing called the Sports Gambling Podcast,
Oh,
which is
nice.
pretty cool. Yeah, and then his name's Sean Green, and then he also works for Rob Dyrdek on. I always
Oh,
forget the name
shit,
of the
yeah.
show.
Is it like his like?
Ridiculousness. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
He works for that show, so he became pretty successful. Like, he's doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
It just took him 15 years to be able to, you know, get in and do that. So, but like, they did the same thing. And then since they lived in California, I had heard of Eddie Bravo before, and I seen some of his videos online.
Yeah.
And I was always trying to get more into jiu-jitsu and learn, but I really didn't like the guys out here. There was like a Henzo affiliate, and they weren't really that cool to me because I already had fights and I trained at Tiger Schulman's for some reason. They thought I was like, I don't know, trying to get like insider information. I'm like, I'm
Oh.
trying to fucking learn jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, things have so much changed where nobody gives a shit anymore. Like, people train with each other all
Yeah.
the time. But back then it was like still like
Yeah,
Karate
cross-training
Kid.
was
Yeah,
like,
like,
yeah.
no, yo, this is our dojo,
Yeah,
whatever.
for
I'm
real.
like, dude, but I wasn't even cross training. I really wasn't even with Tiger Schulman's anymore. I wasn't training. I was just trying to like, hey, maybe I'll just do jujitsu and learn some, you know, moves, and then maybe down the line, you know, because I did take a Henzo seminar back in the day,
Nice.
and it was pretty cool. Yeah, but you could tell they were just like, they weren't really having me at the time. But then when these guys moved out to California, same thing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a week vacation. I'm gonna, you know, take my girl, or I was single at the time, whatever, go out to Cali and just stay out there for a week, sleep on his couch,
Yeah.
and just hang out. So we would go out there and then get a hotel, whatever, and just stay by him. And he lived in Shit, where was he first? Crap. But the one of the airports is in lands you in there. It's not LAX. There's another airport.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Bob Hope or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's another airport. Oh, Burbank.
Ah,
That's what it
okay,
is.
yeah.
Burbank. Yeah.
I
Because
always
there's
go
10th part in
LAX when I've
Burbank
been
too.
there,
But
yeah.
now I used to go. But there used to be a flight. Alaska Airlines would fly from Newark, and they would go to Burbank. They don't do it anymore. And it was a smaller airport, but it was like way easier to get around in.
Yeah.
It was like ABE here.
Dude, I love
Yeah,
going AB. It's always
exactly,
cheaper.
exactly.
than Philly.
ABE to Austin. I'll even take a flyover or a layover because then I'm 10 minutes away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't have to drive back from Newark. Fuck that.
Dude, it was
So-
so funny. One time I got a flight from, I think I was going to Louisiana or something to visit family. And I looked at the price. Philly to there was like $400. ABE to there was like $250. And they had a layover in Philly.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
it's the same flight. Just like,
Sometimes they'll throw you on a bus.
Yeah.
And they'll just drive you on a bus, and then that's your you don't get a plane from
that's so
Newark
funny,
to
dude.
yeah, it's so stupid. But yeah, so these guys moved out there, and then I've live in Burbank with them for like a week and a half. And then like I remember it was like halfway through the week, and all I was doing was like smoking weed and drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
Like just being in California because weed's legal, and I'm like, oh, we gotta get weed, and we're hanging out, and they were still in party phase, and like
Hell yeah.
they used to have was really cool, and it's the same thing, like just going and doing shit, like saying fuck it, because they used to have a big they would have a big stage in their backyard, and they called it the Comedy Garage.
Oh,
And it was
sick,
like in their
dude.
garage they had a stage,
I
and
love
they
that
would just go up
underground
there,
shit,
and they
man.
had like a it was like a cool backdrop with like pictures and all this different stuff, and like they had like a I remember they had a snowman that would just constantly move back and forth that was lit up, and they would just have guys go up and do stand up, and then
Yeah.
there would be people staying at the house because they live with like 4 other people, and then they would have they had this one guy Wax, he's a rapper. They had Wax come over, like they met him somehow, and my buddy Sean was in like 2 of his videos. So it was just like they were doing that, and it was just like, a cool time. Like I would go out there, and then like, so I was partying the whole week, like watching comedy, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I wonder how far I am from Eddie Bravo. Like I know 10 Planets Out here because I know one of my buddy was like, I'm surprised you don't go train. I'm like, come to think of it, surprised I'm not thinking about it either. I didn't even bring my gear. But like
Yeah.
at the time I wasn't training like how I am now. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
It
of
wasn't
course.
full time like this. And so I was like, yeah, maybe I'll grab some stuff. So I went to like randomly there's in Cali at the time, they'd have like the RVCA, a RUCA shop where
Yeah.
you can go and buy stuff. So I bought a Under Armour rash guard, which from a store, whatever. And then I bought a pair of tap out shorts. And I went to when Eddie was teaching at Legends, probably like 2003-ish. It was like a year, maybe 2004. So it was a long time ago. And that's how
Yeah.
I met him. But he didn't really remember me too much. But I took a bunch of classes out there. It's just there were so many guys.
Yeah.
And it was at the
No
one,
doubt.
there was a big picture of Randy Couture and Boss Rutan on the front.
No, Boss Root.
Yeah.
Hell
But they
dude.
never taught there.
Oh,
They
that's
just were like the
funny.
place, it was just called Legends,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's long story short, but that's how I got into like the business and then met Eddie through there.
Mhm.
And then like, he didn't really, like I said, he didn't really remember who I was until like later, a couple years later, when I really decided to go full-time jiu-jitsu, like
Yeah.
martial artist, see what I can make with this, I just felt like this area over here, especially our area, I was like, man, if I could, because then I would train with Eddie all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, man, if I could bring that like vibe out here, where like everybody cross trains, people are love jujitsu, like it's like a party, but we're training and it's like a positive thing. And that's what I wanted to do, And I think that was like me and JM's main goal when we first started Finishers was like, let's bring that. We want to open up a 10th Planet, but let's bring that vibe out here of like that Cali style, like everybody's just, hey man, it's all good, like
Yeah.
positive vibes, shit like that.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, that's really what
Where
I
did
think we
JM
wanted to
kind
do.
of get involved? Like, I'm gonna have him on the show as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He can give me his angle, but I'm curious, like, from your perspective, when did you decide, like, JM's like such a close friend that I'm gonna make him
Yeah.
a business partner?
Well, when I went back to train at Tiger Schulman's, like eventually I was like, all right, I want to fight again. Fuck it. And I don't know. Sometimes I would do that shit. Now I'm 38, but I'm not fighting anymore. But I still would like every now and then. I'm like, I lift one night and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm still choking guys out, but I'm like, nah, don't do it. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast with Don Fry. I had Don the Predator Fry, old school fighter. He's talking about still fighting. He's had like 12 back surgeries and shit. I'm like, Jesus.
Well,
You know what I mean? So,
jeez.
But when I went back to Tiger Schulman's at first because there was nowhere to train out here. There was like some random fight gyms that I just thought were like amateurish. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to like give those guys my time.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I'm just going to go back and train. I'm going to ask my old sensei if it's cool if I come back. But like, I'm not going to do class. Like, I'm not taking class with like people anymore. Even though I eventually did. We spar in class was fucking crazy. I can't believe they allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
You know, old people are like doing drills and we're like kicking each other in the head and shit. So stupid. But we would, oh yeah, JM. So when I came back, I already knew him because he was always, like when I left Tiger Schulman's for a while and I was doing nothing, just like working a job and like training at boxing gyms and random shit, he started fighting. And like he was fighting
definitely.
MMA. He's got like 10 amateur MMA fights. And he was doing grappling tournaments when I was still doing grappling tournaments. He was a kid, and one of the guys he grew up with, and then there were a bunch of young kids that were his age that were all competing. That I didn't coach them. I was just I was just competing, but I was an adult, like an older teenager. Like one of them was Caitlin Chikagan. She fights in UFC. She fought for the title and stuff. It was like all these young kids.
Yeah.
And so he's been training martial arts like his whole life since he's 6 years old.
Damn,
you know what I mean? So when I came back, I was like, talk to him, and like I was like talking about Eddie Bravo, and he's like, oh, I already know about Eddie Bravo. I'm like, oh shit. Like we were like really vibing on that. And then there were a couple other guys too, like George Katechis and some of the guys that trained at Tiger Schulman's when I came back that were like, yo, let's go. But JM, I could tell, was like, not really, he was going to college, but then he kind of like didn't go to college, and he was like, I could see, I was like, ooh, this guy, like he's got the motivation and he's got the skills, and he understands the game like how I do, so I always vibed on him on that level. Like we know what, and I think part of it is like we don't bullshit each other about martial arts, like, hey, and then we started competing with each other, and then we were like, yeah, let's fucking open up a business. And it's really hard to run things by yourself.
Hell yeah,
you
dude.
need someone who's a good
Definitely
partner that can help you and do all these different things that you can't do. You know what I mean? Like we have the same style, like we both like 10 Planet stuff, but we also like are always teaching different stuff, but also still on the same page. You know what I mean? So
Definitely,
it's really
yeah.
cool. And like I love working with him, and that's kind of how we met. Now we met all these other guys we're working with. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. Yeah. I appreciate him just having like someone else to like talk to about stuff, or like someone else who's a high level martial arts guy too,
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, JM's awesome. The first class I took here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was the day I had Tom on the show.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
dude, his class was awesome, man.
Yeah,
It was so cool to see him go through like a positional thing into a submission into a counter. I'm like,
Nice.
oh, dude, I love classes like that.
Yeah.
His fight IQ is serious, dude.
Yeah, well, think about it. When you've been watching, like, when you've been watching UFC and just I remember one time, like, we used to have a sleepover at our old, when I like was running a Tiger Schulman's in Quakertown for a while.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like teaching class there, and him and some of the younger guys used to come train. And I remember he brought like a VHS tape. It was like UFC knockouts and UFC submissions, like top fucking 100 or some shit.
Yeah.
And like all the kids were sleeping over watching Little Nemo, and we're just in the thing watching on the small TV, just watching UFC knockouts, watching like BJ Penn knock out Cal Uno, and we're just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Fuck
so
yeah,
we've been
dude.
watching fights forever. So it's like, sometimes when you hear people talk too, it's like, we get upset. That's why that one, the one meme, it's the Diaz brothers, and they're both like leaning down, and it says, when you're listening to the new guy talk about all his fight experience, and it's just like, because from his perspective, like, I think I started training martial arts when I was like 12, like, or
Yeah.
13, and I think he started when he was like 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
So he's like 30 something now.
Sleeps
Like,
and breathes it,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you're just been doing it forever, which is cool. You know what I mean? Like, same with me, but he started even younger than me. And every kid that I know that started when he started has quit since then.
Wow, dude.
Because
Yeah.
everybody else has stopped doing it or
Yeah.
whatever,
Like, I wanna
except
be the
for
manager at
Caitlin
McDonald's
Chikagan.
instead.
Yeah, Caitlin Chikagan's still been, she's been training for a long time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? She's
That's
still
awesome.
fighting in UFC. So,
Yeah.
but
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Can you tell me kind of how, like, I heard a story, maybe you can confirm this rumor or not,
Nice.
but I heard that, like, when you guys first opened the original 10th Planet Bethlehem, you were, like, living out of there.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what's funny? Like, cause Flow Grappling has this thing now. I finally caved and watched the one video. Cause like sometimes like I don't like I just don't have time or like whatever. And I've been hearing about it, and Michael Sears been talking about it. It's called the Daisy Fresh. Have you seen that?
No.
So yeah, I've been hearing about it, and then I guess what the guys are living in the back of a they built like a hut or something, or maybe this was like an old one, but the one guy, he's really good, and I've been studying him, and the reason why I saw it because I've been studying the guy. Thor's could face him coming up in the Who's Number One thing.
Nice.
And they live in the back of a is it a laundromat? I think I have to, like I said, I have to go back.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I've heard about this.
Andrew Wiltz.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good. I've been watching him. He's not pretty good. He's really good.
Yeah.
And you know, Thor might have to fight him in the Who's Number One thing. So I've been watching him. So slowly the videos have been coming up. So I'm gonna have to watch it. So the guys are living in it. You know, the guy's talking about how he grew up poor. You know, him and his brother, and this is fine. They built houses and lived in them. It's no big deal. You sleep in your bus, like, who gives a shit? Some people will be like, I could never. You know what I mean? But you're out there doing shit. So when I moved out of my buddies, we were teaching at an old MMA gym called Team Hammer. It was in Allentown. We were teaching there for a while. And like 8 months, and we just did not vibe with the MMA crew of guys. It was like all weightlifter, meathead guys.
Oh, yeah,
or like
yeah,
pillhead dickheads that just wanted to just throw gloves on and like whoop someone's ass.
Yeah.
And you know, the martial arts vibe just doesn't go with that because like we're martial artists. You know, it's just different. You know, you're fighter, yes, but you know, you're just not an asshole like that.
Yeah.
So we
that's
just didn't get along,
discipline.
and the place was going out of business anyways. So it was a 20,000 square. This is 12,000 square foot, and you know how big our place.
Dude, it's
Their
huge.
place was 20,000 square foot. They had gym equipment. It was bigger than this, more rooms. It was insane. And they fucked it up. You know, it was real too expensive. They got a place too big. And that's why we worked our way up. So the
Yeah.
first place that we opened, you know, Buddy helped us, gave us a couple of bucks to buy the mats. We moved in, no wall pads. So we were breaking holes in the walls. And we were signing people up. We had a kids class, stayed small forever. But when we first moved there, I was like, shit, I don't have any money coming in. And I was still in like litigation against my old job for unemployment because they wrongfully terminated me. And I was like just on my ass, broke, no girlfriend, you know, no house. You know, my car actually had gotten taken away at the time, got basically repossessed.
Damn, dude,
I had to pay for it.
You
Yeah.
were through it.
So yeah, it was fucked up. So, but then I still never really took it that hard. Like I was pissed and I would get sad at night sometimes, but then I was like, you know what, man? I'm free. I remember just watching because I didn't even have cable, but I was just watching Fight Club. You know that movie?
Fuck yeah.
When he's
Club,
like,
dude.
it's only when
It's only when you have nothing that you're free to do.
yeah, and I was like,
yeah.
actually, you know what? You're right. Because then I like basically had so much time. Like now it's different, but I'm like, I'm engulfed in things that I like my family, training, coaching, traveling,
Dude.
you know, and I never got to do those before. But at the time, I just had endless amount of time, you know, and I was like, and with no job or anything, I was like, all right, how am I going to pay for all this? And I wanted to make the school work so bad, you know, so I moved into the back of the business. And JM was living at his grandparents' house at the time. And, you know, he was kind of on house with his parents or whatever. I'm sure you could ask him about that. And then I moved, you know, and they were just like, you know, wanted the best for him.
Yeah,
Same
of
with my
course.
parents, but
Yeah.
they were kind of like, what the fuck? Like, so I wasn't really allowed to live at my parents' place. They were just like, nah, you've had so many chances. Like, we're not going to feed your martial arts thing. Although my dad was productive and like happy about it, but he was also like, dude, you got to make some money. Like, you got to go back to college, whatever. So, I
What
did
did you
go
go for
I did
college
go back to college. Criminal justice.
Oh shit.
I did
dude.
get my degree, so
Yeah.
I did go
Oh,
back and
nice.
get it for sure, just because, you know, I didn't know, and I got so close, so I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll go back, you know. And I got my degree from DeSales, and JM got his 2-year degree too from Northampton Community College because I went there too.
Yeah,
So we
nice.
did go for stuff, but oh yeah, so then I moved. Oh yeah, moving in the back of the place. So
Yeah.
I wanted it to work so bad, and I knew we weren't gonna have money coming in for a long time. So I was like, you know what? I can't live at my friend's house and not pay rent. You know, when another friend of mine was living at his house too, because we were both going through like breakups and like having nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I can't just live there and not pay rent, not have money for food, and like, you know, I don't even, you know, I'll figure it out. I'll teach privates, but I'm gonna have to figure it out there. Because I was like, all right, I'm paying $500 a month rent to live in my buddy's basement. Minus $500 because I could just live in the back of the school.
Fuck.
So
yeah,
that's
dude.
$500 saved right there.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
You know what I
man.
mean? And then what I did is I had the school, whatever we were making from people signing up. Like I took some of that money and got me in JM gym memberships at LA Fitness.
Nice.
So like while I was so bored, I would go to the gym and work out and use the sauna and then shave
Shower
and
and
shower.
shit.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So at the end of the night, I remember I used to train every night. I trained twice a day every day. And then I would train at night. We'd get done around 10:30 every single night. And then I would I didn't have a car, so I would jump in JM's car, drive to the gym, shower quick, and then drive back to the school. And they would just be done finishing the finishing like mopping the mats.
Mhm.
And a summer night, open the door, turn all the lights off, and we used to have these small little light. This was in like a shopping center next to Jimmy John's and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And we would turn these
Is this,
little
this
like
is the old location you're
the
talking about?
old location.
Old.
Yeah,
I
before the
remember.
one that you were probably, if you were at the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like 2 ago.
Mm.
So we taught at the MMA gym, and then we went to a small place, right up on William Penn Highway in Easton, and it was like 600 square foot. That was it. 700
Yeah.
square foot mat space, back room, one bathroom, and no shower. And the back room there was a futon we got from one of the students, and I used to sleep on that, and then that broke, and then I just slept on the floor. And like people were like, "What?" I remember like people asking me like, or even like chicks that I was like trying to talk to at the time because I was just bored. They would come like be like, "What the hell? Like you live here?" And that's how I met my wife. I got her. She came over and she was like, "Wait, you live here?" You know what I mean? And my wife stuck with me.
Yeah.
And that's why we got married, because she was crazy enough to. Not that's why we got married, but I mean, she was crazy enough to take a chance on me
Yeah.
starting up a business, living in the
Just
back of it.
recognize the potential.
Yeah, because other chicks would be like, "Oh, where do you live?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I live at my dojo." And they'd be like, "What?" Like, you sound like a rapist. I don't
How do you
so.
think I sound? Like, oh, come check out my school bus.
Yeah, but the right person will take that chance though, knowing you're not like some weirdo guy. You know what I mean? They'll be
Yeah,
like, "Wait a
man.
minute." They'll get the feeling because
For sure.
like Kat came over. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? She figured it out. She came over and was like, she did tell her friend like, if I don't come back, like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just lived there in the back, dude. I had like a couple of sleeping bags, and then like I just would take like we had like one thing was like rolled up. It was like those egg crate things that you used to put under the bed, and I just
Yeah.
rolled that up in a corner, and I used to just like just lay in the corner like that's probably why my back's fucked up. And then I did that for like a year. I think I lived there.
Damn, dude. Whole year fetal position with that
Yeah, and like
crate.
sleeping like that or sleeping on the mat and stuff. And then JM, he lived there same time I was living there for a while too. And then I moved out, and then I eventually moved to one of our students at the time, Dan. He bought a place and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna rent rooms." So I eventually moved there, stayed there for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then me and my girlfriend at the time, Kat, we got an apartment. So it was like just same with the school, man. That's why we always joke around, like we always say about like, well, it's like a Rick Ross quote when he's like, we built it ground up, they bought it renovated. And I always like that because like we literally did exactly what we wanted to do: start off small and just slowly, incrementally, small wins, or like John Jacques Machado always says, inch by inch, get to the point where we want to be. Like, it's not going to be all at once. Everybody wants to take that big chunk. They all want this beautiful place and this huge school and, nice cars and all this stuff. But it's like, dude, if that's really what you want, it's not how you get there. Right now, you have to do it. And John Jock said this all the time, inch by inch, inch by inch, Eddie, when he's coaching them, because that's like a great metaphor for life, like every little way. And it's kind of like how our thing worked out. I went from having a house and cars to having nothing, to small school, live in the back of it, teach out of another gym, get a bigger school. That's grown out of that place, get an even bigger place. And then just things keep falling into line,
Hell
and
yeah,
I
dude.
feel like the universe just knows that you're putting into it. I did a lot of shit for free. People are like, "I never work for free." Yeah, you can say that once you get to a certain level. Then you could be like, okay, I'm not showing up for a seminar. Like right now, like, I'm so busy. Like if I taught a seminar at Bronx, like, jiu-jitsu, if someone wants to have me for a seminar, I'm like, listen, there's going to be a price that I need to have this amount or I'm not coming. Like before, I would go and teach a seminar of 6 people and get like $175 and be like, cool, man, because I needed the money.
Yeah.
But now it's like different. I have a whole big school and everything. That's when you do it. But people are like, I never work for free. Dude, I think the universe repays you when you do things sometimes just out of the good of your heart, or you do it for free. And then because you're working your way up and you're taking that bit by bit, it'll reward you.
Hell yeah, man.
That's how I really feel,
No, man, 100%, Zach. Dude, I can resonate with that a lot. I think, like, even my bus is, like, a decent example of that. Like, a lot of this is, look, it's pretty janky, right?
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I got
like
in
it.
here was free, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this desk, I knew exactly the stuff I wanted done, right?
Yeah.
Like, I knew I wanted the solar panel, so that's all
Yeah, that's
quality, you
sweet.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, the battery box, like, I'll have to show you the outside and stuff later. But it's like, I'm going to build the skeleton exactly how I want it.
Nice.
And everything else, like I want to be careful with the money, because the podcast is going to cost money.
Right.
Diesel costs money.
Yeah,
Travel to you guys. So the fact that, like, I can do a few things, kind of ghetto or free, I'm going to do that, and then kind of build up. Like, did you see my sink, my foot pump sink?
Yeah.
You got to see it, dude.
Oh, it's back there.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's right here. But
yeah, dude.
man.
The same. Yeah, that's sick, dude. You know what? But that's the way you have to do it, man. Like, I'm having like it's crazy now. Like, when I think about it, like, now I'm about to have a son soon. JM has a family. He's a son, and like, that's why I was going back and forth. Like, my wife's like ready to pop at any point, so I gotta like check my phone every now and then. But what's crazy with her is or now I'm having it's like boggles my mind. Like, we worked our way up to this, and now, like, people are like, oh, you need, everybody who sees me, I have a townhouse right now. I don't own it. We just rent it. We've been working our way up, and I'm trying to build a school at the same time.
Yeah, dude.
And, I'm doing all these different things, traveling and coaching and podcasting, and it's all fun. I'm doing it because I know it's bringing me things back, and I'm doing a lot of it just for, to do something cool. And, like, people are like, you got to buy a house. You got to buy a house. I'm like, dude, relax. Like, everybody always wants to push so fast. Like, you got to sit back and enjoy every little bit about it. Like, now I know my life is crazy and I'm moving around a lot, but still, though, I take time to just enjoy things. Like, yes, it's you got to love it, because you can't just rush it. Like, they just want, like, well, why don't you buy a house? Why don't you have this car? Why don't you have that car? And I see people like, okay, well, then what are you going to do when you have all that stuff? If that's what you really want, then what are you going to do?
It? Yeah.
What are you going to do? Yeah, how are you going to maintain it? Or what's the next thing? Then you got to have a nicer car, a bigger boat. It's like, dude, okay, like, I want a boat too, but like, I'm working my way up. So, like, people criticize that, like, because I don't have a house yet. And a lot of people I know that are younger than me have bought houses and shit like that. That's not the place where I'm at right now. And it's not the great time to buy a house right now. It's like
not,
terrible
dude.
time.
It's a box.
Yeah, so I want to have like a certain amount of money in the bank, and I want to buy a nice house. I don't want a middle house, because before, when I owned a home, before I sold it, like, it was like a town, it was like a twin, and I had a neighbor and everything. I don't want that anymore. I want a house where my dogs can run around. I have a yard. I might have to move a little bit farther away and make a longer drive in here, but fuck it, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But to me, I would rather wait. And then, like, yeah, my son, he's gonna be a baby. He doesn't know that we live in a fucking townhouse. If we live there for 2 or 3 years, not that I want to do this, and I don't plan on it, because I plan on maybe next, winter, we'll see what happens. Like, even if it's not the greatest, I feel like I'll be in a better position to buy a house. And I want to get through him being born here. But he's not going to know, even if he was 3 years old, and he'd be like, oh man, yeah, I remember the house. Remember the townhouse. Yeah, and then you remember dad and mom worked hard and then bought a big house. And you remember that, you know what I mean? You're like, yeah, I remember they worked their way up, because that's what my parents did. My dad had an apartment, then we had a twin, like, over on 9th Avenue in Bethlehem. And then after that, he bought a big house and he's been living there. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to do. Like, some people just like, and listen, if your parents give it to you, then more power to you. Then that's awesome. But some people got to work their way up. There's nothing wrong with that. I could buy a house, but I don't want to yet. And people are like, oh, shouldn't we have a house? Like, just like when they come to this thing, that people are like, oh, how much does it cost to heat this thing? Oh, it's how much is going to... We'll figure it out, man. We don't need to, we're getting it. We're getting it slowly but surely. Like, today, they're building a boxing ring in there.
I saw,
yeah,
dude.
people are like, yo, when's the ring going in? Dude, it's going in, bro. Just relax, man. Enjoy every little piece. Every little win that you get. You're like, yeah, that's another one. Now we got a ring. Now we got this. And you know what I mean? After a while, it's like, I just feel like if people want to do it too fast, just got to take their time.
Dude, it's so comforting to hear someone, like, that I respect so much, like your success so
Thanks,
much,
man.
to hear that for myself, because like I question myself all the time. Like I'm sure
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up for you, you probably had some moments where you looked in the mirror like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, well, dude, yeah, many times when I lost matches and I went out there and like, everybody's looking at you and you go out and you get smoked or something like that. And I'd come back and be like, sometimes I'd be in the back of the gym, like almost crying, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what am I doing? Like, and I've had to console a lot of my students, like, where I've been like, they're following the dream too. And they're just like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why am I still getting choked out? Why am I getting beat? Whatever. And it's like, dude, this shit takes time, and like, I feel like you push so hard to get to a certain level, but then what? Like the journey is the cool part. Cause like, I always think about it and you're like, so like, do you like WWF at all?
Dude, I grew up on
Yeah,
that. That's the reason why I
exactly.
probably do
Me
jujitsu
too.
today.
Yeah, I love WWF. Like, cause I thought that was fighting back in the day. I didn't know,
Yeah.
and my dad loved
Who's your
boxing and
who's
shit
your
too.
favorite guy?
Dude, I don't even know. I like so many guys. Like I like the Stone Cold Rock era
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I know
yeah.
that's like my cousin's age. But like I also like the old school guys. Like I liked ECW at the time because that was crazy. When WCW was around.
Yeah, yeah.
But I really like Ric Flair.
Yeah, yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart. Like obviously I liked Hogan and the Warrior and all those
Yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Legion of Doom. Those were cool. Jake the Snake. All the like early '90s guys. Like
Yeah.
'80s
The
was really fucking
Berserker.
cool. The Berserker. There's so many fucking dude. There's so many guys. But I listen to now and like I try to get like I do listen to political stuff for like some reason I got into like listening to like old economists talk about like capitalism and like socialism and like communism. I don't know why I got into that. Like
Yeah.
I just get stoned at night and go into YouTube holes.
Yo, it happens, dude.
But reason why I brought up WWF is like right now, like I don't know what WWF or WWE looks like. It might look like shit, like or it's just corny to us because we're older and it was so cool back then.
Yeah.
Like even sports have changed. Everything changes. People don't like change, or like it just doesn't change with the times. Like a lot of the shit that WWE did back in the day, they couldn't do now. It just wouldn't get over. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
people would like some of those gimmicks now,
Yeah.
even though everyone loves Jake the Snake, and loves Shawn Michaels and the
Yeah.
Undertaker and stuff. So, but I listen to. Do you remember Jim Cornette? Do you remember who that guy
No,
was?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little bit older. He was like this dude who was just a manager and he used to walk around with a tennis racket. And I forget who was the latest he might have been in on.
Yeah.
But he would always
is
like
he from the East Coast?
he's from like Nashville or something like that. I'll have to show you a picture of what he looks like.
I feel like I might be connected to one of these guys like through other people. It's a long story. I won't get into
Yeah,
it.
but this dude, like, he knows. He has a podcast. I forget what it's called, but it's on YouTube where it's just a bunch of like 12 to like 30-minute clips, and it's just him talking about the old wrestling business
Yeah.
and how like Shawn Michaels did this, or like Ric Flair was so uncontrollable, and like Scott Hall was a piece of shit, and like all these different guys, like the NWO and like all those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
He
yeah.
tells all these crazy stories because he was working for Vince McMahon and
Mm.
he was working for WWE. But what I like listening to it because it's old and it's just different from political shit, and it's different from sometimes I can't just watch jiu-jitsu and grappling all the time because I feel like I'm back in school. I feel like I'm like in class where I got to take a break and just have something fresh eyes. So I'll listen to the old wrestlers also talk shit about other wrestlers
Yeah,
from
yeah,
back in the day. Like literally Bret the Hitman Hart just sits there and just rips on everybody and says how they sucked at wrestling and like they don't know anything. And then they all hate on the new guys. But what that always makes me think about when I listen to them is every time an old guy talks about those were the days. But like, when do you realize these are the days? You know what I mean? Like when you look back and you're like, dude, remember when we were all fucking running to school and like, we were having tournaments and the podcast bus showed up with Brad and these fucking things.
Yeah.
And you think about it, it's like one day you're not going to be doing all that stuff. So when you think about it, it's like, oh, these are actually the crazy days now.
Yeah.
Like where I have, not all the time am I going to have a class where I have Thor on the mat and Grace is on the mat. And like, you know what I mean? And there's like 30 people fucking deep in class. It's like, might not always be like that. Things could change and you'll look back and be like, oh man, like I really liked back then, but I didn't realize, you know what I mean, how good you had it. Like I always think about that, like for WWF for sure, because when you look back at it, you took it for granted just because it was so awesome. But then it went away kind of, or like you grew out of it or like it changed. And now you're just like, oh man, like I wish it would go back to that time,
Yeah,
So like I
yeah.
always think about that. Like I just want to go. I want to slow it down,
Yeah,
not
dude.
speed it up. Where you're like, I just can't wait till the next tournament. I'm like, dude, just like I'm half of my day. I feel like is talking guys out of fighting. Like like bro, I want to fight next week. I'm like, dude. I'm like, just take your time, man. What are you in a rush? Bro, think about some of the fighters that have been fighting. Like some of the guys are brand new, but there's a lot of dudes that have been in the game forever and they just started to get over. Like now there's a lot more opportunities, but like some of the guys been fighting forever, been training forever. They didn't just jump into it.
Yeah.
Some people did for sure and they're freaks. But some people been doing like, people are like, oh, Gordon Ryan. Like, dude, Gordon Ryan's been training forever. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys been training the Rotolo brothers.
Yeah.
Like, dude, these people been training since they're kids.
Yeah.
Give it some time.
It's their life.
Yeah.
You know
You
what
got
I
to
mean?
give
Yeah.
some shit some time. Like, I have another buddy that runs a podcast. And, me and him always get on the phone and chat about like, and I do the podcast just for fun. Like I haven't done it in a couple weeks just because I've been busy,
Yeah,
but I'm never going to stop it. Like we're going to try to set it up in my office.
Dude,
So that
sick.
way I could do like a finisher's files and I could just jump on with somebody and interview a guy or just talk about fights or break down matches, whatever. And we always talk about how people are always trying to like, oh, you should do this or you should do that. And, you would be better if you you should really think about it. Oh, how long are you going to do this? Like, why are you so worried about what I'm doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In my mind, I think I got it figured out. Like, I don't always need everyone's advice because I'm not asking for it, And it's not, sounds like a dick thing,
No,
but it's like, dude, I'm doing my thing. What are you so worried
100%,
about?
man.
You
You know,
know?
it's a really cool thing that I heard recently, Zach, and it's kind of been resonating with me lately, especially with like the questionable decision that is this buck,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And it's if you're getting criticism from somebody, ask yourself if you would trade your life for theirs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if the answer is no, maybe
Then-
that criticism's not worth taking.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So I'm doing better too with like just taking and just being like, oh yeah, cool, man, cool.
Yeah.
Like it's hard because the people don't see the vision,
Mm.
but they also will act like, oh yeah, like Zach, like, oh man, these guys came out of nowhere. Excuse me, I'm 38 years old. I've been training since I'm 14. Like we didn't come out of nowhere. I've been calculating this shit since before. Like I never knew what it would turn out like or how it would look, but it just slowly every day. Like that's why like you're on the mat all the time. You're in training all the time. Like whatever your craft is, you're always like, whittling it down
Yeah,
or like
100%,
fixing it up.
yeah.
Like, oh, I could do this a little bit better. I could do that a little bit better. I'll try again tomorrow. I'll come back again tomorrow. We'll work on it.
100%. Man.
Some people, like I said, they just want a Hail Mary or a home run right off the bat. And it's like, wow, a lot of those things never last, man. People come out to box hard and are always like, because people always give me shit about other tournaments too. They'll be like, yo, you see fucking this guy's doing this thing. I'm like, oh, cool, man. Like I think people would think that I would be upset with Sam McCall because he's running, Emerald City, but quite the opposite. I could care less. That's more opportunities for our guys to try to get into it. And they're raising more money than we can raise and still make money ourselves.
Yeah, man.
So more power to him. And then look what happens.
Yeah.
My squad's reffing it. You know what I mean? And I'm
Exactly,
there
man.
reffing
It's
it.
so awesome.
Yeah, and
I had
we're
Sam
we're
on
doing the
show,
qualifier.
actually, yeah.
You know what I
had
mean?
Sam on the show, and dude, he only said great things
Yeah,
about you guys. man.
exactly, dude. We've
Yeah.
known each other for a while, and like I love working with him because we both just talk about it, and like we just get it done. Like we're both busy. He has a family.
Dude,
He's opening
absolutely.
up a school. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
And people will think like from the outside, be like, "Why are you working with another tournament?" Be like, "Bro, there's more than enough food for all of us to eat.
Yeah.
You just got to be able to." But and then when you work with each other, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Because now like he's promoting the Finishers Open.
Yeah.
I'm promoting the Emerald City.
Yeah, because you
You
guys,
know?
you have like people from each side going.
Yeah. And-
Sam said
yeah.
a really powerful thing on the show when I had him on, and it was a rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. The more you're going good and other people want to also go in that direction, they're just going to, not jump on your bandwagon, but they're going to start working hard too. Like, dude, you know how many people I've gotten into like, working with our designer guy or working with our podcast guy or working with and it's given them work, working with our photographer, working with our video guy, doing a podcast on this guy's thing, being on this tournament. We make money off the tournament, obviously, so we charge money to get in and everything,
Yeah.
but we don't make that much. By the time we pay the refs and everything, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that much. We always give away money, so it's like we're losing
Yeah,
some
man.
there. But it's always something good comes out of it. Like we have this tournament. The one guy, his guy's in it, has me for a seminar. Okay, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Now I have another connection with these dudes. Then I'm like talking to a different set of guys. Like, oh, I want to have you come up for this. Oh, I want to come down do the podcast with you, whatever. And it's just more opportunities, just more stuff. You know, some things you can't do because you just can't do everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, if I'm not doing it, I'm setting one of my guys up to it. I'm like, yo, you should be doing this. You know, like just this weekend we have like freaking 5 people competing all over the place. Like Bam Bam. Oh, I thought it was my phone. Bam Bam is one of our kids. He's competing in Florida, Jits King.
Oh, dude,
Renee's
that's
competing
awesome.
in Ohio. Chrissy and Sid are competing at Tap Cancer Out. You know, so there's like, dude, then Fury Grappling's July 2nd, which is in the cage CFFC or whatever.
Yeah.
And we have like 5 guys on that shit.
Yeah, Sid was
you
just
know?
telling me about
Yeah,
that.
hell yeah,
man,
that's awesome, dude.
man.
Like, and what's great now is like I'm becoming like the grandfather of it all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not really competing anymore. I'm retired. So like now those guys are going to do it. And I'm gonna be at home with my family or whatever, watching online. You know, like I can't be at every single one. You know,
Yeah.
but as they get higher into the matches get bigger, they start making money. You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, then I got to start showing up. Like, all right, they need me for this one. You know, but all these other ones are just for them to get not that I don't want to be there, but they just got to get experience. But what the hell is that?
Yo, for real, man. They're working on like the AT&T.
Oh yeah,
tower,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they've been working on that AT&T thing or the 5G tower. I think
Yeah.
it's like it's weird. Think about this. It's a bunch of Russian guys working
Dude,
on a
I
5G.
went up and I asked him because I had
Yeah,
to move
yeah.
their like cone. I'm like,
Yeah.
can I move it? Yeah, right. The
Yeah.
Russian guys doing the 5G.
I'm like, what is going on here? It's
I
conspiracy
asked him. I'm
theory.
like, you mind if I move your cone? I want to park my bus by the gym, and they're like, we're working on the tower. I'm like, yeah, I mean, but I was asking about the bus, and dude didn't speak English. So I'm like,
nah.
oh shit.
Yeah,
dude.
all right, we're good,
Let
bro.
me talk to the Mexican guy over
Yeah.
there. He has better English than you guys. Yeah, they have like a whole ragtag team over there, man. That's so funny, man.
I never know what's going on here.
Yo, for real, dude. But yeah, man. So recently, I know. Damn, dude. I hope this isn't getting picked up too much, but
Yeah,
it is.
I
what it
hope
is.
not,
It's-
yeah.
yeah. So we have a mutual friend, Amy, the hybrid healer.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
she
yeah.
comes around. You want to
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me about like what you kind of got your first impression with her?
Yeah, so I found out about her because just on Instagram I don't know who was using her, maybe like the studio.
Yes, I
84
know she
guys,
goes to studio.
Yeah, so that's probably where I saw like you know, one of the guys either or it was Gary Tonans maybe because she's a student of Gary's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And yeah, I saw her on there, and we have a room here that like I'm like, man, and this is like always what I've dreamed of is like I'm gonna put everything in one area. Like if we could one day, right? We have a ring where we have a ring being put in. Eventually, we're gonna have a cage. You know, we want to we want to have a you know, we have the jiu-jitsu mat, we have the weightlifting
Yeah, I was
area
gonna
in the
ask you
back.
about the weights. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have a whole strength conditioning area. So yeah, man, that would be like the next thing is have a recovery person, you know? So, and I, you know, obviously I have to feel everybody out, and I hit her up and she was like, yeah, I'd love to come down, do a demo, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, I do energy healing. And like, I didn't really know about that. And then when she came down and like, did like a session with me, I was like, oh, this chick is legit. I'm like,
Yeah.
she's legit. I'm like, she knows what's up. So, because it's not like, you know, I've been to a lot of massages
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks going to massage place. Here, I'm coming into my own like my office is there. I'm getting a massage over here.
Yeah.
But it's not just like a massage, like a regular massage. She's actually working on me,
Yeah.
pinpointing what on your body hurts and using like ancient Chinese medicine.
Yeah,
You know,
dude.
which is awesome. So we, you know, me and her, we just connected right away. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Yeah, she's done like energy work for my wife and stuff that she's pregnant. You know, works on me,
Oh,
like works
wow,
on my
man.
back. Like, yeah, if
Yeah.
I miss, she comes every Monday here, and if I miss one Monday, dude, I'm jacked up.
You
I'm
can
jacked
feel
up.
the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Yeah, because she like
crazy.
she goes for the spots that you know need
Problem
work. You know
areas,
what I
yeah,
mean? She
yeah.
does cupping, and then she's working on doing the
the acupuncture.
acupuncture, too, which
she
I'm
hit,
anxious
she
to
hit
try
the
to do.
cups on my back. Looked like an octopus afterward, dude.
yeah,
it was a
it
great
helps.
session.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it
man.
helps. Anything to like break up the like whatever the fascia or whatever in your
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
It's huge. Yeah.
It was cool. Like it was cool. Like I was asking her questions like during the whole thing. I was like, "So how does this work?" And she would like go off on like how like it works on the fundamental level. I'm like, "That's fucking cool,
Yeah.
man."
Yeah, and she's going to school for it too. So
Yeah.
like right away, like I just connected with her, and I'm like, oh, I trust her, you know, because like I don't want to, like I actually have double scoliosis,
Oh
which is
shit,
pretty
dude.
crazy. Yeah, that's why I keep moving around and I keep like
Yeah, man, get
touching things.
comfortable. Yeah.
I'm always twisting up
Yeah,
because
nah,
my
definitely.
back goes like this.
Yeah.
So like sitting and stuff, even for a long time, is fucked up. Like I keep getting tattoos, but my guy gets pissed at me because he's like, all right, 5 hours. I'm like, I can't do 5 hours. I could do like three, and then I'm like, you know what I mean? That's about maxed out. Even hour car ride fucks me up.
Yeah,
You know what I
dude.
mean? Just because I'm sitting and like I'm kind of like this and I'm leaning and like it
Yeah.
gets jacked up. So like her working me out. Now she started stretching, like doing stretches, kind of
Nice.
like I don't know if you heard like LeBron James does like spends $1 million a year on his body on recovery.
That's
You know what I
crazy.
mean? So like I'm like, man, I gotta spend the dough and like get someone good in here to work on me just to
Mm.
keep me on the mat.
Yeah,
Just
for
to keep me
sure.
at a certain level where I can still
Keep
compete with the
operating.
guys and like
Yeah.
yeah, and be able to like roll. Like I'm 100 like I'm close to 160, but I'm a good roll for Grace because I know how not to use all my weight and blast her, and she's like 120. So I'm a good roll for her, and like I'm flexible, so it's like. I want to be able to keep giving her what I can as long as I can.
Yeah.
I just don't screw with the big guys anymore. I'm like,
Yeah, no doubt. Dude, how did you figure out that Grace was gonna be kind of like the phenom that she is?
dude, I mean, it just was like same thing. Like every match was like a new, and it still is with her. Like every match is like a new, um, like a new like puzzle to fit to thing. Like, for me, for years, me and JM, working with her and all the other guys too. Like just figuring out like what can we add in, what can we add to like make her even better. And it's like literally like the Matrix. Like just okay, this, all right, this. I'll add this. Like tonight, we're just for months we're just working on taking the back off leg locks, like
Mm.
back takes off leg locks. So like when all these girls try to like go for leg locks on her, take the back, choke them out. Like that's what Grace does. Try to pass the guard. They're gonna pull guard. A lot of them pull guard, try to go for legs. I want her 100% prepared for that, but like I said, it's just constantly adding moves to her. But like at a young, like she was like 12 and she was choking out boys. And I could just see she was playing like adult games,
Yeah.
adult level, like when I say games, but like an adult level jujitsu style. Like,
Yeah.
how kids will just, they're kind of one dimensional. They go for this move all the time or, they have a good pass, but, they don't really do this, whatever. She literally has all moves. Like, I don't know very many moves that she doesn't know. She knows so much shit. It's hard to
Yeah.
trick her.
Yeah.
She's very
Yeah.
patient. She's very stingy. She don't give up a lot. And then her defense is really good too. Like that's one thing I think people take for granted. It's just she's so good at playing deep. Like it's hard to tap her.
Yeah.
John Jock says all the time, like if you're hard to tap, how are you gonna lose? Sub only if you can't get tapped.
Yeah.
Like she's a woman too, so it's very flexible. And you just realize like not just her, like she got her body in really good shape, but
Mhm.
it's up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Grace has been homeschooled her whole life. She's adopted from China, and she's got adopted into a really good family. And I
Yeah.
think that's really helped her. Like a very supportive family, supported her, throughout her whole career in martial arts, and just did whatever they needed to do for her to get better, but never pushed her too hard.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like they never really made her like really, hey, you have to do this. She always wanted to do it. And she's
Yeah.
just she's got that type of brain, man. It's like, it's special,
Yeah.
It's special.
No, that's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Do you feel like how rare is it to find that in a student that just kind of clicks like that?
Dude, like, I mean, I've been all over the country, man. I've been in other countries too, Japan, and I've seen other kids and stuff. It's just, man, it's hard to just have it all together. Whoa, they didn't just fall down, did
Dude,
they?
I don't know what's going on out there, bro.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just to have that it's just also too like there's a lot of men and like just a man's body is just guys can stall each other out and shit. It's a lot harder to do that in female. Like because they're just smaller, they're not as strong, and they're more flexible. So
Yeah.
like there's more moves available. So like it's just a complete different vibe than just a big guy.
Yeah.
Like there are big guys that are definitely like, but it's just different because I just feel like men are just, not as cerebral sometimes as some of the women are because they're just using more technique.
Yeah.
But I
for
even think
sure.
Grace is special for a woman. You know what I mean? Not just special for, you know, just a person in general. Like
Yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah.
like, there's a lot of women that she just out techniques the piss out of them, you know?
Just
And then,
outclasses
yeah,
them,
and then
yeah.
even the girls that, you know, the one girl, Misa, who did beat her, like didn't beat her by submission. It was like mainly her running away and, you know what I mean? Like kind of evading and stuff.
Dude.
Is that literally them?
Yo, it is, man. I'm about to go out there and like give him a piece of my
Yeah,
mind.
be like, dude, chill
Can
out.
you fucking not?
Chill out for 5 minutes.
Yeah, for real.
Um,
Shit.
but yeah, and you know, like I also, you know, try to coach Thor as much as I can.
Yeah, definitely.
John Blank, and he's another guy who's special because, but a completely different body type. You know, big guy into lifting weights, jacked as fuck, really good conditioning, really
Yeah, dude.
flexible still.
They're almost
You know
like
what I mean?
comic book characters. Like
Yeah.
this is what your squad is consisting of.
Like
you know?
two opposites, you know. And then the thing with John is like, you know, a lot of big guys come in, but they all like, you know, I'll just bust out of it, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. But then what happens is with John is he came in and said, no, I want to learn these moves. Like I want to learn, you know, everything. Like, wow, okay. So like he wanted to learn how to play guard, learn electric chairs, learn how to do leg locks as a big guy. All of a sudden, you know, he's destroying people
He's a
because he's
problem,
learning
yeah.
techniques. You know, he's really smart also. Like people are like, John, he just fucking rips shit. I'm like, dude, he's really smart, bro. Like he knows his game, and he knows a lot of moves, and now he's a full-time instructor too. Quit his job. He was working as a, you know, union electrician, and now he's full-time.
Oh
you
wow,
know?
that's
So
crazy.
he's training all the time, training with JT Torres. Like he's one of the best. He's already one of the best guys in the world. He beat Murillo Santana. He beat Rustam Chiziev by heel hook. Like, dude, even Gordon and Gary didn't heel hook him. You know,
Yeah.
like Thor's special. You know, but a different way. You know, just because he's got a whole different thing. And then I got this other kid I help out. He does gi too. Matty Bam Bam Velez. You know, little Bam Bam. You seen him?
Yeah.
Like, dude, he is a special kid. He's got that wrestling mentality because he wrestles, and he can take kids down. He's got a wicked guard. I'm teaching him rubber guard every chance I get. He knows how to play half guard. He's got good escapes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell
And he's
yeah,
a
dude.
fucking animal, you know? And listen, his parents don't push him. He wants to do it. They will bring him to wrestling, private lesson, jiu-jitsu with us. He'll be at home skateboarding in an hour. He's just that brain, dude.
Yeah,
He don't
dude.
want to slow down. And he's smart. So now kids are showing up like that in jiu-jitsu. He's only like 11 or 12 years old. He has a super fight at Jits King this weekend.
That's epic,
You know,
dude.
and it's one of the like most like anticipated ones because he's fighting like one of Wagner Rocha's best kids.
Oh shit.
You know what I
dude.
mean?
Yeah,
So it's
no,
crazy.
That's awesome.
I was down there for the last time he did it. Like he's an animal. So like, you know, just I'm getting lucky to where these people are walking in through the doors and they're also believing in me and trusting me. So like that's one of the reasons why I work so hard.
Yeah.
Because they're like, all right, well, if Zach's teaching class, like I'm gonna come to his class and he's my coach, well then I better come at him with the fucking heat.
Yeah,
You know what I
dude.
mean? And have him ready.
Yeah.
Like I would hate if Grace went to the tournament and lost because, you know, we didn't prepare her properly. So
Damn, dude.
You know?
Yeah, that's got to be like a devastating thing
Yeah.
to feel, man. Like Jay out of Studio 84, Jay Regal Butter, man. One of the things he told me too is like it's the coach's responsibility to like when he's given a diamond of a student like that
Yeah.
to know if he's the one to sharpen that diamond.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? And it's awesome to see that so many potential like people out of here. Like you got
Yeah.
Renee as well. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
just
dude.
another
There's
guy
so
you
many
didn't even
guys, dude.
mention.
Renee, and then dude, you're wearing the Zach Edwards shirt.
Fuck yeah,
You know what I
dude.
mean?
Hell
We've
yeah,
had so
man.
many guys come through that I just been like, you know, not everybody as in depth in. Like I feel like Grace, like I'm just, you know, I'm following the path with her this whole way because she was a kid growing up, so I don't want to just abandon her out of nowhere.
yeah.
You know, Thor, same thing. He walked in as a white belt, so like I'm gonna see both of their
Wow.
careers through as far as I can. Now
Yeah.
he had wrestling experience, but you know, and some of the other kids like Bam Bam, like I'm definitely one of his coaches. Like he reps the team, but like his dad's his main coach. You
Yeah.
know, so like, you know, I'm not going to be teaching him gi, and he wants to be gi world champion too, do ADCC, no gi, the whole nine. Like his match is no gi this weekend. So, you know, I'm just going to be there as much as I can for him. If you
Yeah.
walk in that door, I'm going to help you. You know, like we had Brittany Elkin here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, He's literally driving it away now.
Good. Oh man.
Let's give him a second
Yeah,
here.
get that fucking thing out.
Yeah,
of here.
give him a
Jesus,
second.
man.
I just want to see what my wife's okay. We're all good.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, man. I guess I should have confronted these guys, man. He's just got that whole thing up in my mix right now. Let me go look at this fucking thing.
Yeah, what's he doing? Just stop it, bro.
Oh my god. All right. Anyway,
I think they're bringing stuff down.
Yeah, they must be, man. Working on that 5G, trying to give you cancer.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah. So what I was saying, Brittany Elkin, like we had Brittany here, and it was really cool about Brittany. Like she walked through the doors. Now she trained mostly. She took a lot of JM's classes. But like when I found out she was fighting Clarissa Shields, it was a great fight too. But when I found out she was fighting Clarissa Shields, I was like, okay, she needs takedowns and like being on top. And our MMA coach here is his name's Zach Makovsky, and he fought in UFC and everything, and like he was the first Bellator 135 bantamweight champ.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so like not a lot of guys know about him because he's fights at the lower weight. So like a lot of people just don't know about the lower weight guys. But I think he should have fought for a UFC title, but like he's got so much experience. I went to high school at Freedom High School. He went to Becca. They're like rival schools.
Yeah.
And I've known him since we were younger. We used to, go to parties back in the day together. And then, I just saw him at grappling tournaments, and he trained most of his career at Faraz Sahabi, at TriStar Gym in Montreal, GSP and all them. And now he's moving back here looking, to do some work. And I'm like, because Canada's all fucked up because of coronavirus. I'm like, perfect, dude. You can work, I'd love to hire you here, so he's working for us, teaching the MMA classes. So like when Brittany came in, like I wasn't going to like, that's it, I'm taking over Brittany Elkin because it's a high profile fight. I was like, not that she would have let me take over, but I wasn't trying to take over anything. I was just like, hey, listen, you got to meet my boy Zach. Like he's a collegiate wrestler. He walked on to Drexel, made the team, became the team captain. You know what I mean? And like a lot of his thing is wrestling and boxing. Like, and he's really good at jiu-jitsu too. Like he's definitely underrated at jiu-jitsu. But I mean, dude, if anyone's gonna show people takedowns, work with him.
Yeah.
Like he's fought in UFC. He's got the, you know what I mean? Like no disrespect to any of our other coaches, but like this guy knows what's up.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't gonna step on anybody's toes. I was like, yo, work with Zach. Yo, Zach, work with her. He ended up cornering her. I could have easily tried to jump in there. But I was like, nah, that's not my place. That's not the skill set that I could bring to the table. Now, if someone comes in and it's like, yo, I want to choke a motherfucker out with my foot, I'll be like, yo, I'm your man.
I'm your man.
You know what I mean? That's why I
dude.
got Grace and I got Thor, and like we're working on the sub-only game and stuff. And I got other guys concentrate on MMA, and so it's a blessing, man. I really love this shit.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. That's awesome.
Hell
man.
yeah.
Yo, so like what are some fights you're like really hoping like happen? Like is there any matchups that you're looking to see like occur? Maybe not even with your own guys, but just like some stuff you're kind of looking out for.
I mean, I'm excited for the Who's Number One championships. That's kind of what I have my sights set on right now. Is 8 people per division. Winning division gets 30 grand. That $30,000. If Grace wins $30,000, a lot of money. So there's only so many slots. Grace is in it and Thor is in it. So that's huge. So I'm sure Danielle Kelly's going to be in it. Everyone's going to be down there for that. And so I'm really concentrating on that. I'd really like to see some of my younger guys, just get in there and mix it up. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm excited to see that Who's Number One. We're gonna might see Grace versus Danielle Kelly again, Grace versus Jessica Khan, Grace versus Maisa Bastos. Those are all light women. Like a lot of people don't know about them, but that's what I'm looking at. Thor versus Tackett, Thor versus that Wiltz guy, Thor versus freaking Craig Jones again. There's going to be some insane matches at that. So I'm really concentrating on that. And then obviously ADCC after that, I'd really like to see ADCC. How that shakes out, because it's like the highest level. Like Thor, he's got Force, so he's in it. So I'm excited for that. So I'm like really trying to just get everybody ready for that as much as possible. So, and then the local scene, I always like seeing the local guys throw down. Like that Emerald City is gonna be dope,
dude.
like
for
there's a lot
sure,
of really
man.
good guys in that, and a lot of IBJJF guys. So I like to see how they stack out with like guys like Calistine and Battle and all them. So, and we could see a lot of guys face each other that have faced each other in like finishers, earlier finishers. So I like
Yeah,
to
see
see
how the
those
game's
rematches.
evolved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
dude.
why I'm hoping I could go. But if not, I'll be watching online. I'll be watching online. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, here they go
There we
again.
go. Let me.
Uh-huh. Nice. That helps. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. All right. Yo. So another question. I'm just kind of curious because
Yeah.
I lost my job like when coronavirus hit.
Mhm.
Like that kind of like fucking threw a wrench in my clockworks
Yeah.
kind of thing. How did you guys navigate that? Like that's when you guys started here, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
not really. Like we did right after. It was wild, bro. Like, I was pissed, because like, Walmart's open, 30 fucking thousand people in there, but I can't be open, and we just told everybody we're gonna take a month off and like we're not gonna charge anybody. But a lot of people are like, nah, fuck it, keep charging me. Like we got some of the best people in the world at training here. I feel like just not just grapplers, but like just people. They like love it so much and they love what we're doing that they're just like, yo, fuck it, I'm paying extra this month. I'm like, what? So insane. Like even now thinking about it, like, damn, I wish I could like want to go back to my class I just taught and like shake everybody's hand, because it makes you think about shit like that. Like we wouldn't have made it through without the students, and we just started coming back slowly, and like some people started hitting us up like, yo, I want to come back to train, blah blah blah. And then like we just got back to almost normal, and like none of the cops around here fucked with us, so they just kind of let us do our
I mean,
thing.
I'm sure you have cops in
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
room.
we do a
You know
lot,
what I mean?
yeah.
They're probably
We do a lot,
vouching
and then
for you,
no
you
one
know?
really just fucked with us. They just kind of let us do our thing, so we just went from there. And it just kind of like I said, another blessing. Like just every day was crazy though, waking up being like, what the fuck's gonna happen now? Like what's gonna happen now? And
Dude, I remember that
Yeah.
one finishers that you guys did in that
The
like-
lockdown?
Yeah, dude, that shit was so crazy, man.
yeah, how many people you think died because we had that finishers?
Oh, man,
Zero.
Yeah.
Stupid. But like, yeah, people wore masks, whatever. I didn't hate on them. Like, do whatever you want, but we're having matches and people are so desperate to compete, dude.
Dude.
They were just like, because now all the tournaments are back. So it's like the pool's not as big as people. But when I had that open up, dude, that was like 300 people hit me up to compete. And like we had to narrow it down to like 20 matches or whatever.
Yeah, dude.
It was pretty crazy. Then
Dude,
we had
yeah,
the
there
OT
was-
championship.
Dude, there was so many fucking spectators too.
I
dude.
know, it's so illegal compared to the CDC would have had a field
Ye-
day on that one.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. No one even got sick.
Dude, I remember the cops showed up and they're
Yeah,
like, what's
yeah.
going on in here? All right. And
Yeah,
just
they
backed
didn't
up.
care. Yeah, they didn't
Very
even care.
well.
They're like, "What? What is it?" And they're like, "It's like jiu-jitsu." And they're like, "Fighting?" And they're like, "Nah, it's just jiu-jitsu." And they're like, "All right, see you later." They're just don't park in front of these people's driveways. That's all they gave a shit about. I was like, "All right." That was interesting.
Yeah. No, that was super fun.
We had one in Maryland too, like during the pandemic, where they were almost shut it down
Oh shit.
before,
Dude.
and 170 people were coming to compete. I'm like, "Nah, we're having it.
Yeah.
We're having it." And they're like, "Well, you might have to wear masks while you compete." I'm like,
It's
Nope.
not possible.
it's not possible. We're just running it. And I was like, if there's a fine, I'll take it. Because I fully believed that this would blow over and I would just trash it anyways and never go back to Maryland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now nothing happened. Nobody cared.
Yeah, dude. That's fucking funny.
No one got sick either. Wow, what a
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah, for real.
You know,
man.
because most people doing jiu-jitsu are all healthy people.
Dude,
you
I've been trying to like I've explained this to so many people like where they asked me like because I was training like all these underground open mats
Yeah,
like,
me
when
too,
the
yeah.
thing happened, you know what I mean? But they're like, dude, aren't you worried? I'm like, dude, we're already so scared of catching staph. Like
I know.
like BJJ
Well,
people are so
yeah.
clean.
And then think about this, like for a while, because I was still like, oh, we got to be careful, blah, blah. But then after a while, I was like, you know what, man? There's all these places and people training underground. We know they are, and we see the pictures, and we know people are still training. And that's the opposite of coronavirus, is being up close and personal and wrestling with each other in enclosed rooms that are hot and sweating on each other. Wouldn't there be dead people everywhere if it was that bad? There would be jiu-jitsu. How many people in jiu-jitsu have died?
From the coronavirus?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
that-
exactly. So where are they all? If we were rolling on each other and the coronavirus was like at fucking DEFCON 5 when we were in Maryland and 170 people came, so 250 were there, Everybody smoking weed, passing joints, drinking beers, going out to eat, eating food. Not one person even got sick. Now, I'm not saying it's fake, but people are going to get sick either way. People are going to get
Yeah.
fucking sick. People are going to die,
Yeah, dude.
unfortunately. You know what I mean? But if it was that bad, there'd be dead people in jiu-jitsu. There'd literally be bodies. They'd be like, whoa, we lost another purple belt. Or like, oh my God, did you hear Keenan Cornelius died from coronavirus? It's not happening.
Yeah. Dude, I got it. And like
I got it too.
I've been sicker.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
me
I mean?
too.
It's one of those things, like you said, man. We're already healthy people.
I like 10 years ago, my mom got the flu and almost died. She got really sick and she's stupid. She let herself get really dehydrated at the time.
Ooh,
And
that
it
would
was
do
just
it, man.
comply. And my mom's like me. She don't stop. She just keeps going. And just her body just shut down, went into fucking shutdown mode. And like we got her fluids and stuff. And it took her a couple days to get back. She had this really bad hacking cough. She was smoking cigarettes, And then, dude, like she could have died.
Yeah,
I
dude.
know a kid who died from the flu, but we didn't shut shit down from that. And that was just, we didn't even know who gave it to her. She didn't even know where she got it, So that could have been from anybody, like mysterious carrier. It's like, dude, people are going to get sick. It's your job to take care of your fucking body.
Yeah,
You know what I
dude,
mean? Same thing with the
100%, man.
masks, dude. The masks, even Dr. Fauci, those emails came out. I heard it on fucking, whatchamacallit, Joe Rogan, they're talking about it again.
Yeah.
Saying like, listen, the masks don't work unless you have it. It's only if you have it. That's why in Japan, they wear a mask if they're feeling sick. So they wear the mask. If you're not feeling sick, what are you wearing a mask for?
Yeah.
It makes you look stupid.
trying to hide from the cameras.
Yeah. Exactly. You got warrants? I don't know what's up with that, dude.
Come
You know what I mean? That's why I always say when someone doesn't want to be in the picture at the end of the class, I stole it from Eddie Bravo. He was like, yo, you got a warrant? He's like, you got warrants? So like, no, I train at this place. I'm not allowed to, they can't see me. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Yeah, dude. The drama still lives.
Every little bit,
Yeah.
little bit.
That's crazy, man. All right, bro. Well, I've had you in here for a few hours probably by now.
Yeah, dude, who knows? It's been a while. I feel
I
like.
got like I want to ask you like a couple more questions. I know you got to
Yeah,
get out
yeah.
here. And
I just want to go check on the ring and shit. And then I'm
Yeah,
gonna roll.
yeah. Of course, man. But yeah, so how like what advice can you give any other like people who are like maybe operating a jiu-jitsu gym? Like how can they find success like the way that you did? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think honestly, man, cause I would say just being prepared, like really being prepared. Like a lot of people, like I'll find out, like I'll hear a story where like, yo, these fucking guys didn't even have insurance. I'll be like, what? Like, dude, you gotta look into shit. Be prepared. And then you got to be in love with this stuff. If you really want to run a jiu-jitsu gym, you got to be in love with jiu-jitsu. You got to want to do jiu-jitsu every day and wake up and do it. If you want to run a successful one, depends on
Yeah.
what you want to do. If you just want to have like a hobby place, like with like 10, 15, 20, 30 dudes, and like you train every now and then for fun, or you train in your basement, whatever, that's cool. You could do that too, and I'm not hating on you. But if you want to have a legit spot, bro, you got to put your whole effort into it 100% and like really like I said, be prepared. Like get insurance, get waivers, do all the things. Like, no one, like people ask me like, what do you do for this or what do you do for that? Like, bro, I figured all that shit out myself. Like I didn't ask dudes. I just saw like, hey, what do you pay for mats? I just hit the guy up like, hey, where can I get mats? Hey, where can I get this? Price it all out. And then like be prepared. Think if I get this many students, we have this. If I get this many students, and then just operate it. And I think to the last thing I'll say about it is like, because that you're like, well, that's easy. That's not like specific. But like every time I would ask dudes like Eddie Bravo or Daniel Gracie or anybody, Javi Vasquez, John Jack Machado, what do I do to get better? You watch me roll. Like I'm still not the best of all time. What do I got to do to get better? And they would just say mat time. And you'd be like,
more. Yeah.
you'd want them to say like, well, if you got to work on your half guard or you got to whatever. And they would just be like mat time. And guys hate when I say that to them. And they'll be like, oh man, like, how do I get my purple belt or what do I got to do? I'm like, bro, you just need more mat time. It's just being on the mat, dude, every day. And being on the mat doesn't mean running, like redlining your system every day and being all broken and fucked up. Like I didn't roll tonight, but I taught a good class and I did some techniques and I drilled myself. That was cool. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday. I probably won't do shit. Friday, I'm probably going to lift in the morning, train. You know what I mean? So it's like not every day has to be a thing, but you got to fall in love with it and just be prepared and be just doing it every day.
For sure.
Mat time. You know, if they're like, yo, how do I get good at whatever? You want to get good at typing fast? How do you get good at it? You type fast. You want to be good at jiu-jitsu? And you want to run a successful jiu-jitsu gym? Like, you know, I could tell you hit my boy up Julio for advertising or use this guy for a website. Those are all ancillary things. The number one thing is, are you fucking there? You know how many times people tell me, oh, I open up a school. I've literally had people ask me, hey, when is it okay for I take off? Or I see guys open up a gym and they're fucking traveling all the time. Like, yes, you got to travel, but dude, you got to have that place on lock. You can't just be away 60% of the time. Who the fuck teaches your classes? No one gets any good.
Yeah.
You got to be there with the people.
It's your gym.
Yeah, be on the mat all the time, training. Now, in my situation, a little bit different. I own a huge, not own, but I run a huge gym. Like, we own the gym, but at the place, we don't own the building. We rent it. But we have this huge place. I got a whole bunch of other instructors that are purple and brown belts and other black belts that are trying to look for jobs and do the whole thing. So I don't have to teach every class anymore. You know, I'm retired from competing. I can concentrate on just Grace and Thor. And I teach the kids class, advanced class, to keep me honest. And that's the other thing. Like, I don't always push things away. Like, I still teach the kids class.
Yeah.
Like, that's something small. Like, I could tell, like, you want to run a successful gym? You know, get your kids class pumping. My kids' advanced class are beasts, dude. We get those kids advanced. If any of those kids grow up to be adults, they've been training since they're 6. They've been training since they're 8. I don't put too much pressure on them. Just every day you're on the mat. You know, some of the parents, they want to like, you know, he should be doing better. Just, hey, he's here, isn't he? Every day he's getting better, inch by inch. Just takes it back to it again. He's doing that mat time. Then eventually I look at these kids, I'm like, holy shit, out of nowhere, they gained like 20 pounds and they're like 14 and now they're just fucking people up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's always the kid who's just been hanging out. Like Sid, he's just with me all the time, teaches little kids class on the mat with me all night. He's just there all the time. So now he's a 16-year-old blue belt who can slice black belts and adults. And he's beaten guys who got their black belts. He's beaten brown belts. And you're like, how is that possible? He's on the mat all the time. Yes, he's a really smart kid and he understands hard work ethic. You know what I mean? Because that's why I hate society now. People are just like, I want it now. Like, I should have it. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you deserve it, dude? You know what? Yes, there is believing in yourself and having to do it, but then the middle ground is the hard work.
The hard work.
The hard work. You don't get nothing for free. That's why I hate people. They want something for free. Hey, man, I worked all my life for this shit. Like, people are like, when you start opening up a jiu-jitsu school, I think in my mind, like, yeah, it's been 10 years or whatever, but really it's my whole life I've been working for this.
Yeah.
You know? And then and not just because I haven't been doing jiu-jitsu my whole life, but I've been working all these experiences, you know? And that's why I'm just like, yeah, you just got to be there, man. If you want it to really mean something to yourself too, you know? And also too, if you never try it, you'll never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what was that one Michael Jordan one where he's like, you miss all the shots you never
don't
take or whatever.
yeah,
I mean, it's
100%
corny,
percent.
these sayings, but it
No,
really
man.
makes you go like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to
man.
sit back and be 80 and be like, oh, JM, we could have did it, but you didn't. You know what I mean? You never tried. You never even gave it a chance. You know, so if I hope to inspire other people to open up a jiu-jitsu school or to get into doing videoing or drive a bus around or do more podcasts,
yeah, bro.
that's awesome, man. I'm always down to help with that shit. That's why I wanted to make sure I was able to sit down with you today, man,
Dude,
because
that
I love
means
this
a
kind
lot,
of shit.
man. That means
You
a
know,
lot, Zach.
because dude, how many people I know, videographer quit his job, Thor quit his job, opened up a jiu-jitsu school. Yeah, I taught him moves and stuff, but if I hope I taught him is I just taught him how to like work hard. He already knew how to work hard. I just showed him how to work hard in this avenue. You know, he already took his skills and just he's going to do better than me one day. You know what I mean? He already is eclipsed anything I've ever done competing wise, which is awesome, dude. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to, dude, who knows? He could win the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? That's what's crazy. So
yeah, dude.
yeah, that's what I would say to anybody.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Yo, all right. Last question.
Yes, sir.
What is it that sets apart a really good event from a bad event or promotion?
I think that the for me, what does, and it's not even production, because, you know, listen, not everybody has millions of dollars to put into production. What I think is smoothness of the event. You know, for me, like as maybe I'm just because I run events, like that's what I look for in it. Like when I show up, it just runs through without a hitch. That's what I want. You know what I mean? Like not even like, you know, like stuff happens with the internet and video and the venue, like what we had happen with Sam, like that was not his fault. You know, that's the venue. But like you know, the venues, dude, the 2300 arena is like, dude, the people that were working the security there are unbelievably assholes.
Dude,
You know, the
yeah.
people who run the 2300 are awesome. Security assholes. But what I'm looking for is that from start to finish, it started and it just ran and then ended. You know, like nowadays, like the long ass events like are cool, but I just want it to be like, you know, starts like if it's say like, yo, we're starting at 6. I want to start by no later than 6:10, and there's no breaks. It just goes through and then ends. And then every time a finishers happens, when people come up to me afterwards and say, yo, man, that was really smooth, I know what they're talking about. I know that it started, it got hype, people loved it, the matches were sick, they were fast, we picked the right people, and then it was over. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, I'll criticize guys of like picking the wrong type of people for the event, and it just goes too long. You know, and I'm guilty of doing all the wrong shit too, but I've
Yeah.
learned, like we've done a million
You learn
events, so
from your
now
mistakes,
I've
of
learned. So
course.
like this past event, I could have had 50 matches at the one we did, the Mortal Kombat one. I could have had 50 matches if I wanted to, but we had 20 or 19 instead, right? And some of the ones were like guys who were like white or not white, blue and purple belts that won the open division and were coming back and won a super fight before and were coming back to fight other high level guys. So it was like not mismatches, but like less experience versus more experience. And a lot of the more experienced guys won, but there were some crazy matches. Only one went to OT and went through the whole time. The rest of them were all finishes within like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So, and some of the underdogs won. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But a lot of people, you know, a lot of the guys who have been on the scene for a while, you know, kind of like sliced the guys who were kind of newcomers to a super fights. But I told them, don't worry, you lost. I'll always have you back. You know what I mean? But now you might fight another guy who also lost. So we're kind of making it into a league. But like that one was 19 matches, bro, and it was like 2.5 hours, and that was perfect for the viewer, like, because that's what I'm trying to do, set it up for people to watch. I don't give a fuck if like 80 dudes get matches. I want to make it cool for the viewer. We make a little bit of money. We have a cool event. There's burgers out here. And like now, like I think like the extra flair is cool. Like we had the ice cream truck show up. Like that was extra, but it was like cool because people are out here buying ice creams. You know what I mean? So, and then one time we had a DJ. You know, one time and then we have burgers, like our buddy Mike's cooking burgers out here. So
Yeah.
if it runs smooth and there's a little extra flair to it, that's awesome. I don't even care. It doesn't have to have the nicest place or the lights or the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
hoopla. If it runs smooth and it was cool to watch, like then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I
yeah.
just thought of this, so I have to bring it up.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I see you got like you're starting like a grounds like coffee.
Yeah, the coffee
situation.
shop.
Like,
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you talk about that really quick?
Yeah,
before
we started an LLC and we were gonna move we were gonna open up a coffee shop somewhere in town. So I
Yeah.
was looking to go big, but not like a big place, but like go and right away open up a coffee shop, and I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And it was something for my wife to do, and also like coffee's got a huge markup, and I love coffee. And dude, like I heard through the pandemic, it was a hassle, but people still showed up to get coffee. And then the one place I wanted over by the college got rented. So I kind of put that on the back burner with the coronavirus and then moving to this place
Of
and like the
course,
cost
yeah.
of moving. But then we moved in, there was that little truck thing. So we painted that and we're like, dude, we're just going to do. So we got some butcher blocks and we got a sink we need to move, but we're going to have a whole setup back there.
Dude, that's
So,
awesome. So you'll
yeah.
have a coffee shop in the jiu-jitsu
Exactly.
gym.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we'll learn how to run a coffee shop,
Yeah.
sell some muffins. I almost said mushrooms, but hey, maybe some mushrooms, but muffins and like bagels, juices, shit like that.
Yeah,
And
dude.
we'll kind of get our experience. And then eventually, if we want to one day open up a coffee shop, maybe we could, or we'd just keep it there. Cause I know, dude, the morning class sometimes has 25 people in it,
Hell yeah,
plus
man.
like people lifting and stuff. I think people would love to have, you're open for 3 hours in the morning and then 3 hours at night,
Yeah.
so.
No, that's awesome.
We'll see, yeah,
There's a
fuck
lot
it.
of really popping stuff like the escape room place over here.
Yeah.
Have you been to that?
Yeah.
spot
No, I've
yet?
heard of it though. Yeah.
I told I'm really good friends with a guy that's like a good friend of his, and like,
Oh, okay.
I went to the room and I mentioned this. He said he was gonna try to do like
Nice.
a partnership with you guys.
Yeah, you should. We should
Yeah.
always, all that advertising locally is awesome. They walk
Yeah.
in there, see it. They walk in here. We're the real escape room. No, you go into jiu-jitsu, you ain't getting out.
That's fucking awesome, dude. All right, bro. Well, thank you
But-
so much for coming on.
Yeah,
I'm
no problem,
definitely,
man.
dude. When I hook around and come back, I'm definitely gonna have you.
Yeah,
on the
come
show
back,
again,
bro. I'll be here. Thank you guys. Hell yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, bro. Yeah, where? So